shot in the face, blinded in one eye, his hand blown off by a grenade, and then amputated by himself, captured, escaped, shot again, and again, and again. If war is hell, then Adrian Carton de Wiart walked through it, smiling. This is the story of the man who refused to die. The early 20th century was defined by war on an industrial scale. Machine guns, artillery, chemical weapons. Entire generations of young men were sent into landscapes designed to kill them. The First World War alone claimed over 16 million lives. And yet, within that destruction, there were individuals who stood apart, not because they avoided danger, but because they walked directly into it. Adrian Carton de Wiart was one of those men. A soldier whose life seemed to follow a different set of rules, where survival wasn't luck. It was persistence, taken to an extreme. He was born in 1880 into privilege, a Belgian aristocratic family, wealth, education, connections, the kind of life that kept people far away from battlefields. But Adrian rejected it early. He studied at Oxford, briefly, but when war broke out in South Africa, the Boer War, he didn't hesitate. He lied about his age, left everything behind, and enlisted. This wasn't duty. It wasn't obligation. It was something closer to desire. Even in those early days, reports described him as aggressive, fearless, almost reckless. He wasn't trying to survive war. He was trying to experience it. His first serious injuries came not in Europe, but in Africa. During combat in Somaliland, he was shot in the face. The bullet destroyed his left eye. For most soldiers, that would mean immediate removal from service, a permanent end. But not for Adrian. After treatment, he returned, wearing a black eye patch that would later become part of his identity, a visible mark of something that should have stopped him, but didn't. And that was only the beginning. When World War I erupted in 1914, Europe collapsed into chaos. Trench warfare turned entire regions into mud-filled graves. Days blurred into nights under constant artillery fire, and Adrian was exactly where he wanted to be, on the front lines. He led from the front, not behind it, charging through gunfire, exposing himself constantly. During one assault, an artillery explosion severely damaged his left hand. Shrapnel tore through flesh and bone. Doctors attempted to treat the injury, but recovery was slow. Too slow for him, according to his own memoir. Frustrated with the condition of his hand, he tore off his own damaged fingers. What remained couldn't be saved. His hand was amputated, and yet, after losing an eye and a hand, he returned, once again, back to the trenches. Back to the mud, back to the violence. By the end of the war, his body carried multiple bullet wounds. Head, hip, leg, ankle. Each one enough to end a military career. Together, they told a different story. Not of survival, but of refusal. Other soldiers wrote about fear, about exhaustion, about the psychological weight of constant death. Adrian's perspective was different, detached, almost clinical. In his own words, war was something he enjoyed. Not because it was easy, but because it was absolute, clear. There was no ambiguity in battle, only action and consequence. While others tried to escape war after 1918, he remained tied to it. When World War II began, Adrian was already older, marked by every injury he had survived. Missing an eye, missing a hand, his body permanently altered by war. But once again, he returned. He was sent to Norway during the early stages of the conflict, then later to North Africa, where the war took a different shape. Heat, sand, distance, and once again, danger. In 1941, he was captured by Italian forces. For many soldiers, captivity meant waiting, enduring. Hoping for the war to end. Adrian treated it as a problem to solve. He attempted escape over and over again, digging tunnels, studying guard patterns, testing weaknesses. Each failure followed by another attempt, until eventually he succeeded, escaping from captivity and returning to Allied control. Not as a broken man, but as a soldier ready to continue. By this point, the pattern was undeniable. Injury didn't stop him, capture didn't stop him, time didn't stop him. Every event that should have ended his story simply became another chapter. There was no single moment that defined Adrian Carton de Wiart. No final stand, no ultimate battle. Instead, there was repetition, war after war, injury after injury, survival after survival. After everything, he lived to the age of 83, outlasting both world wars, outlasting the violence that defined his life. In his memoir, he wrote a single line that stands out. Frankly, I had enjoyed the war. A statement that doesn't explain him, but doesn't need to. Because Adrian Carton de Wiart was never easy to understand. He didn't fit into the usual idea of a soldier. He didn't break the way others did. He didn't stop when others would. He simply continued, again and again and again, until there was no war left to fight.